Hello everyone and welcome to our webinar on the Transit Worker Assault Online Dialogue. I'm Tom Littleton, FTA's Associate Administrator for Transit Safety and Oversight. Today's webinar is an informational session. Its purpose is to serve as an introduction to the National Online Dialogue examining the problem and frequency of transit worker assaults. We will not be taking questions on the topic of transit worker assaults during this webinar and ask that you please reserve those comments for the dialogue. The National Online Dialogue provides stakeholders with the opportunity to help us collectively develop best practices to prevent and mitigate transit worker assaults. The questions asked in the dialogue are largely informed by the FAST Act, which requires the U.S. Transportation Secretary to review and determine the effectiveness of existing public transportation safety standards and protocols to protect rail and bus operators from the risk of assault. The FAST Act specifically orders the Secretary to consider different safety needs of drivers depending on their mode of transit, differences in operating environments, the use of technology to mitigate operator assaults, the efficacy of mitigation infrastructures already in place, and the impact of the rule on future rolling stock procurements and vehicles currently in revenue service. Each of these issues is addressed in the online dialogue, but we are also asking questions beyond the scope of the FAST Act. A July 2015 TRAX report found that transit worker assaults are not limited to rail and bus operators. The dialogue is an opportunity for you to share your perspective and experience about both operator and non-operator assaults. Let me thank you for taking the time to participate today. We look forward to your contributions to the National Online Dialogue on Transit Worker Assaults. I will now turn over the presentation to Adrienne Molaski, Program Analyst in FTA's Safety Policy and Promotion Division. She is also your main point of contact for any questions on the transit worker assault rulemaking. Over to you.
Thank you, Tom, and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on the National Online Dialogue on Transit Worker Assaults. To give a quick background on the purpose of this webinar, as Tom mentioned, this is an informational session. We will discuss the following: a background on the transit worker assault issue, the discussion topics in the National Online Dialogue, the National Online Dialogue Forum itself, and how to participate. Again, as Tom mentioned, we will not be taking questions on the substance of the transit worker assault issue today, but we will answer your questions on how to access and participate in the online dialogue. So please type your questions into the chat box in the webinar if you have any questions throughout, and we will answer them at the end of the webinar. Just a quick webinar 101. The PowerPoint for this webinar can be found in the top left-hand corner of your screen or at the link on your screen. The web links box in the top left corner also has links to the National Online Dialogue on Transit Worker Assault website, the forum, and again, this PowerPoint. Just a quick background on the transit worker assault issue. As Tom mentioned, in 2015, the Transit Advisory Committee for Safety, or TRAX, put out a report titled Preventing and Mitigating Transit Worker Assaults in the Bus and Rail Industry, which identified causes of assault against transit workers and reviewed strategies to mitigate these assaults. Then, Section 3022 of the Fixing America's Surface Transportation, or FAST Act, required the U.S. DOT to write a Notice of Proposed Rulemaking, or NPRM, on bus and rail transit operator assaults no later than March 2017. Your participation in the National Online Dialogue will help us inform the writing of this rulemaking. And now we'll pause for our first poll question. What type of organization do you represent? Thank you for your participation. Now, you may be asking yourself, what is the National Online Dialogue? And specifically, what is the National Online Dialogue on Transit Worker Assault? Well, it is a web forum for individuals to comment on key questions concerning transit worker assault. Anyone who is interested in preventing transit worker assault is encouraged to participate. The online dialogue launched this past Monday, June 13th, and will be open for 6 weeks until Monday, July 25th. It is located on TSO's website and the DOT's IDEA Forum. You can click the links on the slide or in the top left corner of your webinar screen. Some of the discussion topics that are included in the National Online Dialogue are the following. How should we define assault? What protective measures or barriers does your agency have in place to separate transit workers from passengers? Safety measures are not one size fits all, so how have or how can such measures be implemented across different transit modes and systems? Would automated fare collection mitigate risk? Does your transit agency have data on what motivates assaults? If so, what does the data indicate? What other topics should be considered as we approach the transit worker assault rulemaking? And now we'll pause for our second poll question. Has your organization implemented strategies to mitigate the risk of assault of its employees? Yes or no? Thank you again for your participation in that poll. Now we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of how to use the National Online Dialogue Forum. First, you want to go to DOT's IDEA Forum at the link on your screen and navigate to the National Online Dialogue on Transit Worker Assault, which is the second link both on the left and right side of the screen, highlighted in the red box. Once you're on the Transit Worker Assault page, you will click Sign in the top right corner of your screen, which is highlighted with a red box. Once you're signed in, you can scroll down past all of the text that you'll see at the top of the page, although please read it, and you'll see a headline titled, How Can We Reduce Assaults on Transit Workers? In the first box, you can type your idea, which will automatically search for your idea and the words that you've been typing in, which we'll demonstrate in a minute or two. You can search for an idea in that box or start a new idea by typing your idea into the first green box. Then you can select a category in the blue box beneath it, and then add a description in the red box beneath that. Once you have finished typing your description, click Post Idea, which is highlighted with the yellow box. You can also comment on ideas that have already been posted by finding an idea and looking at the comment box underneath, which we've highlighted in green. Click on that box and you will be able to comment. You can also vote on ideas that you agree with on the left-hand side of the screen using the Vote button, which we've highlighted with a red box. We encourage you to vote on ideas that you agree with to let us know which ideas are popular. And lastly, you can filter ideas based on categories. The red box highlighted on your screen is a category drop-down, so you can select a specific category and see all of the ideas that correspond to that category. And now we'll do a live demonstration. So first, you'll want to go to the top left-hand corner of the screen and click Sign In. And then you'll want to click on the National Online Dialogue on Transit Worker Assault link on either side of the screen. From here, you'll see all of the background on our National Online Dialogue on Transit Worker Assault. And if you scroll down towards the bottom of the page, you will see the red heading, How Can We Reduce Assaults on Transit Workers? Underneath that, in the box where it says Enter Your Idea, you can begin to type any idea that you have about transit worker assaults. As you type, you'll see that it will start searching for the words that you've typed in and bring in current ideas that have been posted that contain those words. From here, you can either click on a current idea and add a comment, or vote on an idea that you like. If you'd like to add your own idea, you can click Post a New Idea on the main page. From here, you can select a category and describe your idea, and click Post Idea when you've finished. Lastly, if you would like to search through ideas and filter, you can pull the category drop-down and find ideas based on those categories. So how can you participate? We want you to register on DOT's IDEA forum, and again, you can navigate the forum to find the National Online Dialogue on Transit Worker Assault, which is the second link on both the left and right-hand side of the screen. And to learn more, we have some links here for you for the National Online Dialogue on Transit Worker Assault website, the forum, and the webinar PowerPoint, which are also all in the left-hand corner of your screen of the webinar. Now for our last poll. Do you plan to participate in the National Online Dialogue on Transit Worker Assault? Yes or no? Thank you for participating in that poll. We encourage you to take a look at the links on the screen. Click to the Transit Worker Assault website and the National Online Dialogue Forum. We